going to talk today about the nunchaku. It's an ancient Japanese weapon, but used today really in martial arts classes for a little bit of traditional training, but mainly it's about coordination, control, balance, timing, spatial awareness, concentration, discipline. So it's a good weapon to practice with at home. Even though this is only a light practice weapon, they're still not allowed out on the street or at school. So just something for you to practice at home or in the club. This is a hollow plastic tube inside. It is covered in foam, so you don't hurt yourself. The real ones would have been like a hard redwood, so it would have been a pretty dangerous weapon. You can buy these online. I've put a link below so you can have a look at that. I recommend certainly getting 7 chains in there. There's 7 links to the chain, I'm sorry. Sometimes I've seen online them being much longer, which doesn't work. That's normally about the right number of links to give you the perfect result and the right sort of size for you to use, for most people to use, including juniors. So we're going to have a go at the introduction, nunchaku. There'll be a more advanced one to follow this video as well. So this is probably not the most exciting part of nunchakus, but it's the most important bit. And that is how we hold it and how we start and how we make a basic movement. Get that bit right, the rest is easy. This is the harder bit, and it's also not the most exciting bit, but let's have a go. We've got to do it. Don't rush forward with the other bits until you've perfected this bit. So first of all, let's look at where we hold it. So we take our first finger and thumb, and it lives right at the very top. You can see you've got this foam section here, and then this metal tip here. We hold it right on the very end there, okay? So that gives us the most control. We avoid holding in the middle, and we avoid holding at the end. It loses control, and obviously I don't want a risk of injury in it, obviously hitting you, hitting your legs or hitting your head. It is only hollow plastic with foam on, but it's still not the most comfortable thing. So first finger and thumb, and that's where it lives there, a bit like a sort of, you've sort of got your hand on a bike, handle bar of a bike. So that's roughly the right position there. Remember, not middle and not the ends. If you find your hand shifting, please make sure you reposition it. What we do from here is I'm going to start with a very, very basic movement. We're going to take the elbow out to the side. So if I stand straight on to start with, we're going to take the elbow out to the side. And what we're going to do from here is we're going to take that tip up and over our shoulder. And what you're going to be able to see is I've actually physically, with the tip here, I've physically touched this muscle here. I haven't left it here, or even just an inch away, it won't work. You've got to physically touch. And you can see, as I come over, I've actually bent my wrist backwards a little bit as well to assist with that. What I'm also going to do is keep my elbow out to the side, and what will happen is it will allow the other side of the nunchaku to just come underneath my arm. The reason why is because eventually we want to be able to grab that and get control of it. Now, a lot of this was about intimidation. It was about looking pretty scary with this whizzing around your head and around your body. But a lot of the strikes are quite basic. It's a strike down, a strike across. We'll show you those as we go along. Take the elbow out to the side, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the nunchaku over, bend the wrist back a little bit, and see if we can physically touch this tip to the padded part of our shoulder here, this muscle here. Okay, and make sure obviously what we're aiming to do is this come back. If we don't, you can see what happens. It hits the arm if we don't come over enough. And also if I come over too much this way, it's just going to catch my back. That's not going to hurt, but obviously it's just saying that it's not in the right position. So we're aiming to make sure that comes under there. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see me there. And you can see how it flicks under. If I put my hand here as a guide, can you see how it's hit my hand? I've come over, there, nice and confident, come over and struck there. Don't need to hold the nunchaku too hard. Once you've developed that, okay, what we're going to do from here is we're also then going to place the hand in position to be able to catch it. The reason why is because we've got lots of moves we can do obviously with the other hand, and we need to practice on both sides. So starting in that position there, imagine now you've got a cup of tea or a can of Coke or something like that, and we're going to pop it right underneath our armpit. This thumb is going to live right underneath the armpit there. Okay, what it's going to do is we're going to come over and we're going to grab it. You can see my hand has grabbed it in exactly the right position. Remember, it's not in the middle, not on the end, it's right at the top, just touching that metal. I can just feel the metal with my first finger and thumb there. So what we've learned so far is, and taking the elbow out, just to emphasise that a little bit here, we're going to keep the elbow out as well. So as we come over, we touch the shoulder, hand comes in. I'll show you that one again now with the hand in position, and now I've caught it. If I don't come over properly, which is what I see a lot of beginners do, if we don't come over properly, then it's going to be, you're not going to be able to catch it. It's going to be here. And that's the most common thing I see here, or over here. So what we're going to do is a little practice for you at home is from this position here, keeping your hand underneath your armpit for the moment. We're just going to see if I can do it 10 times and catch it with the hand underneath here, making sure it's not caught in the wrong position. If your hand is in exactly the same position every time you touch the shoulder, every time, you'll get it correct every time. What we're going to then do is we're going to have a look at the next step. So we've made sure we've learned how to hold it. We've learned how to do the shoulder touch there, coming over, the elbow out, staying out. If you look at what I'm doing here, you can see the elbows out. Where am I touching next? Well, we're going to touch onto the side of the belt. Okay, now directly on the side is not what we're aiming for. We're aiming for a few inches just in front. If you can actually feel it just underneath the belt, there's your hip bone. And that's the bit we're touching there. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to go from the shoulder, hands in position. We've just practiced this bit. Elbow stays out, body's nice and straight. Keep it forward. A lot of students again I see turning. Keep the body facing forward. I'm turning to the side, of course, so you can see me better. And we're going to come straight down, and I'm going to use the tip again, like a sort of a lead on a pencil. And I'm going to use that and physically touch just in front of my side of my body there, on the belt, on the hip bone there. Okay, you must physically touch it. Just touch the shoulder, keeping the elbow out, using the hand in position. I'm going to do 10 practice runs of those in your own time. So I'm just showing you, whizzing through this, so we've got a 10-minute video, and already 6 minutes has gone by. So I want to try and do a quick introduction so you haven't got too long to watch this and it becomes quite boring. From that position there, what we've covered is coming down. This is actually a downward strike. We'd be striking downwards against the opponent, shoulder, top of the head into the face, against a weapon, against an arm. But from that position there, if I show you more straight on, elbow out to the side, touching the shoulder there, bringing the nunchaku down towards the hip there, touching the hip bone from there, and then you can see my wrist again is bent very slightly. This is pointing up. That might be more helpful to you. I'm going to come over the top, bend the wrist backwards. So the wrist is bent backwards here, slightly touching the shoulder, coming forward and touching the hip. Shoulder and hip. Now I'm just going to use my hand in position now. Each time I'm just going to do a quick grab to know I've got it in the right position. Hip and shoulder. Hip and shoulder there. Okay? Now it's important you get that working on both sides. Okay? Because we are going to be doing this universally on both sides, equal on both sides. So there's a little introduction to start with on how we get started with the nunchaku. Make sure you cover that first. If you don't cover those basic moves, you can't move on to the next thing. So a very quick recap. We hold here, elbow goes out and stays out, body faces forward, tip touches the shoulder, this must come under here. Okay. Next step, bring the hand underneath to be able to catch it, and we then touch, we come down, and we come over, touch the shoulder and grab. Then we focus on touching the hip bone, shoulder, hip bone, shoulder, hip bone, shoulder. And if you can get this flicking up, see how it's coming under my armpit, there, you can get that doing that 10 times in a row, you've got it right. You can move on to the next level. Make sure, just as an additional test for you, you go and do it on the other side as well. It's okay, don't get used to one side. You might be right-handed, I'm left-handed. Okay, it does always feel more natural on one side. Make sure you can do it on both sides. Watch, another quick mistake that a lot of beginners make is as they come over, down comes this elbow, and you can't get the nunchaku underneath. Keep it out, okay? Imagine someone's almost holding it there. So I've just got to make sure that arm stays out to the side. Hope that's useful. The introduction level, that's probably the most important bit, not the most exciting bit. We can move on to the exciting bits now. Have a go with that. Start with that. If you know that bit, let's move on to the next one. Thank you.